here! I wanna go home!
I want some of your brownsugar. I want some of your brownsugar. I want some.
Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. It's Brownsugar Commentary and I'm your girl, Kayla. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more videos about black entertainment, black womanhood, and whatever the hell else I feel like talking about this week. Alright, let's get right into it. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about trauma porn and kind of the trajectory of black films as of late. I kind of started this conversation back in my types of black films video a couple of months ago, but I feel like it's worth revisiting because, you know, paying attention to the trends in the movies that I have been watching in the last couple of months, while there have been some great movies so far. I mean, we have One Night in Miami, we have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, we have even I know people don't like the Billie Holiday movie, but I think it was pretty good. Also, what else do we have? We have Judas and the Black Messiah. So all those movies are super dope, super amazing, great movies, great cast. But the common trend with all of these movies is that they're all biopics, or they are based off of plays made about real people, in the case of One Night in Miami and in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So while they're great, you know, there hasn't been a lot of new kind of fiction works about not real people. You know what I mean? Like, and so recently on Twitter, Netflix released a trailer for this short film called Two Distant Strangers, and I'm not excited about it, and I don't think a lot of people are excited about it, because what it seems to be about is about a young man who has a violent altercation with the police, and the situation looks like it's going to be fatal, and he ends up waking up to the same day and experiencing the same day over and over again, kind of like the movie Groundhog's Day. And I don't understand. Like, the movie claims to have critical acclaim. I don't question that the movie is, or the short film is not necessarily, I don't think it's bad, right? It's not like I'm saying I'm watching it and it's bad, but at the same time, it's kind of like we've been here before. And what is this short film saying that other films have not? So, and like I said, people were on social media having their gripes with it, and I follow a lot of people who are, you know, writers, television and movie writers, and television and film critics, and people who just love watching television and movies, and, you know, commentators, things like that. And a lot of people were trying to defend the short film, basically saying, like, you know, black people can't just make with the art that they want without other black people being hella critical of it, or they're saying you just can't judge a movie by its trailer. That might have been more in reference to that TV show, Them, but all the same. But I just want to say, like, isn't that the point of a trailer though? Like, not to be a contrarian, but like, the point of a trailer is to like advertise to us, the potential audience, what this movie is going to be about, and show kind of like the highlights of it, so that you can be like, oh, that looks cool, I'm gonna watch it. Like, many of us, that's how we know about a movie, to go watch, and we watch the trailer. Even the most trash films have decent trailers. That's why we went to go see it. And so you can't fault people for having it. Number one, in social media, people are always going to have an opinion about something. That's like the blessing and the curse of living in the digital age. But at the same time, you can't get mad at black people for being upset about every time that a movie is coming out. It is usually either a biopic, a historical film, a period piece, a nonfiction type of movie, or it is a movie about police and racism. Like, there really is no in between. And yes, every now and again we get the occasional love story or a action film, but it is super oversaturated with police brutality film. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to tell you, almost every movie and television show made in the past decade that deals with police or mentions police brutality at some point, or is, yeah, talking about Black people, Black death at the hands of police. Okay, so we have Black and Blue, Queen and Slim, American Sun, When They See Us, Fruitvale Station, American Skin, The Hate You Give, Star, Blackish, Shots Fired, See You Yesterday, and Woke. Those are just the ones I can remember at the top of my head. But these are all movies, television shows that deal with police brutality and people dying at the hands of police. To define what trauma porn is, because a lot of these movies, what the biggest problem or what the biggest offense it is to these movies and television shows is that it's trauma porn. To give a definition of what trauma porn is, because we love definitions over here, to thegrio.com, it can be defined as any type of media, be it written, photographed, or filmed, which exploits traumatic moments of adversity to generate buzz, notoriety, or social media attention. And it has been my experience that trauma porn is particularly rampant when it is Black bodies and or people of color who are the ones being displayed as victims. And so that is kind of what is the biggest problem with these types of shows and films. I get that movies tend to be, and TV shows tend to be a sign of the times, tend to be a reflection of the culture and society. And there are some movies at its best that do this well and start necessary conversations and get things done. But at the same time, a lot of them are kind of throwing a lot of ideas out the wall and it's not sticking. And all they're really doing is just re-traumatizing the people that they're trying to entertain and protect. At the very base level, movies are supposed to do something. While they may not have a plot, but I do think movies should be able to do something. And even if it's a movie with not a lot about nothing, it's doing something. It's either it's entertaining, like it's just good to watch, and you're invested in what's happening to these characters because they're just interesting. It is entertaining maybe through the music if it's a musical or something like that. It's teaching you a lesson or informing you about something that you did not know about. Usually these are like biopics or historical pieces or whatever. Or it's keeping you on the edge of your feet because it's like a thriller or like a mystery. Or it's evoking some type of emotion out of you. Like, they're all supposed to do something. And I do think a lot of these movies, their aim is to evoke an emotion and start a conversation. However, the conversation has been started and you're not offering anything new, especially movies being made recently. And so I get that Black filmmakers are feeling inspired by the recent events that are happening to Black people, but at the very same time, you have to be understanding that a lot of Black people don't want to see that anymore. Like, I don't have to go and watch an hour and a half movie of a person being harassed and killed by the police. I can literally go on Google right now and go find several videos of that happening to real life people. Even the other day I was in the nail salon and I saw, like, on the news someone showing the video of George Floyd's death last year. So I don't have to go watch a movie to see someone do that. It's just, and even it can take a step further to go back to even when my problems with Lil Baby's performance at the Grammys, or even a lot of these rappers and entertainers whose, music videos as of late and live performances have been police brutality centered. It just kind of feeds into the same trauma porn thing. Like, we're just trying, like, it doesn't come off as authentic. It comes off, oh, here's this movement going on and I want to capitalize off of it and whatever. And sometimes that may not be the intent, right? The intent could be, I want to be a part of the movement. I want to show, my place in it. But like I said, there's a very fine line between showing something grotesque or violent or something that is traumatic for the sake of pushing a narrative forward or starting a conversation or reflecting the times or whatever, and just being straight up trauma porn. And a lot of these things just come off as trauma porn because it's triggering, because this is not some type of moment in time that's we're far removed from, or something that is not a reality that could happen today, like, right? This is something happening right now. It's kind of the same reason why I don't like the pandemic storylines on TV shows right now, like especially medical dramas, because it's like, how can you make a show or a TV show trying to talk about something that we don't even have the answer to right now? Like, we are living through it right now. So the same reason why everyone are probably sick of pandemic storylines, Black people are sick, or at least I am, sick of the police brutality things, because all they're doing is re-traumatizing us without offering any real solutions or really starting conversations that we haven't already been having for the last decade. And this is not about the movies where it's based off of a true story like Fruitvale Station or When They See Us. I do think those movies are necessary because they do promote change. Like in the case of When They See Us, I think that because those, those men back in the day when we didn't have social media or any form of like digital media to kind of capture things happening, and they had no like evidence to vindicate them, and the media painted such a horrible picture of them, that they needed to have a movie about them, because the coverage surrounding the allegations compared to the coverage when they were vindicated are not nearly the same. And because of that movie, they got that Linda Fairstein lady up out of here. So see, that makes sense. Even with Fruitvale Station, Oscar Grant's story was a story I did not know about, because I was relatively young when he was murdered. But because I got to see that movie, I got to learn about who this man is and what he went through. And so that is, I'm never opposed to those movies, because those people deserve to have their stories told. They deserve for a wide audience to see it and understand it. That is why, like I said, it's triggering and traumatizing, because we have to see a dramatized version of their deaths. They're still necessary. It's even like with something like a Fred Hampton. His story deserved to be told, and while the movie wasn't obviously about him per se, he's just like a main character, and it was more through the lens of the informant. Even when he dies at the end, it makes sense, because I mean, this is something that really happened to a real person and it had to have happened to tell the story. And so while it could be sad, it's not as triggering, because you went into the movie knowing that he was going to die. And that's kind of where it is, because he's a real person. But when it comes to in these movies, most of these people are fictionalized. They are not real. They're just, like I said, echoing kind of things that these filmmakers, writers, whatever, have seen in real life, and kind of just regurgitating that storyline. And so a perfect example of trauma porn is Queen and Slim. Like, if you like Queen and Slim, I'm so sorry about it, but I'm sorry. Like, and I mention Queen and Slim a lot because the movie had so much potential there, but we chose not to do anything about it. Like, and it's not that I hate Lena Waithe by any means. I think that she is a good writer. She has made some good stuff. I think her Master of None episode, which she won an Emmy for, is really good. I also like her TV show on Showtime called The Chi. But this was a swing and a miss. Like, a swing and a miss. And it had me wondering what was the point, so that it could kind of help me understand what the heck was I supposed to get from that movie. In an interview with NPR.org, Lena says, the movie is sort of a result of every conversation that I ever had with every Black person I've ever met. And also, it's an observation too on our community, who we are, how beautiful we are, how complex we can be, and how we are resilient. And sometimes we'll do whatever we have to survive. But yeah, it's really just this thing that came out of me, out of my body, that I need to get off my chest. But it really was like a hug that I wanted to give Black people. I have to laugh because I did not feel like I got a hug after watching that movie. And I mean, if you don't know what Queen and Slim is about, it's literally just about these two young folks, two young Black people who go on a date via Tinder at a diner, and they, the date was kind of awkward and didn't go too great, but, they're driving home, to take the young lady home, I believe, and they get stopped by the police, and the situation goes from like 0 to 100 real quick. And the young girl gets shot because she came out of the car when the police told her not to do that. And then as a response, the young man, I don't remember their names because their name is not Queen and Slim, it's another name, and I don't feel like looking it up. But so the guy shoots the police officer, and of course the police officer dies, and what are they gonna do? And so the whole movie is basically their journey to kind of flee from the cops and presumably death to go all the way to Cuba so that they don't have to worry about the police anymore and stuff like that. And so they go basically across the greater, America, the great states of America, from I think Ohio all the way to Miami to get to Cuba. And I mean, the movie ends basically with both of the protagonists being shot because another black person ratted them out to the police. And they die in a very grotesque way. And
Me.
No,
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the reason?
I just explained the reason.
What was the reason?
so I consider this movie trauma porn because I was not entertained. It was not interesting to watch. It was quite like it was very slow at some points. Like it was just kind of like get to the point. And for two people who were on the run, they were doing a lot of pit stops. This was not a love story. I don't understand why they just couldn't have been together to begin with, and then they were just a boyfriend and girlfriend that just came home from a date night, and then just that situation happened. It would have made more sense, especially like, why are you willing to sacrifice your life and well-being for a girl you just met 5 seconds ago? Or y'all willing to go run away together when y'all barely liked each other? It was not a love story at all. They tried to do it. They really tried. But no, their chemistry was like sandpaper and bubblegum. Okay, and that's no shade to Jody and Daniel. They did the best they could with what they were given. What I'm saying is the two characters just didn't make sense together, this lawyer and a Costco worker. And I'm not saying like that's shade to Costco workers, like lawyers can marry Costco workers, but I just don't think the type of character that the girl was would ever talk to a person that would work at a Costco. Because the way that she even judged him, you can just tell what type of person that she was. So it literally made absolutely no sense. It's like, and like I said, I watched plenty of interviews with Lena trying to explain what was she trying to do. Like I said, a lot of it was her talking about where they went was like the Underground Railroad, and this character represents Malcolm X and the other one represents MOK, and by the end of the movie, da. And I'm just like, no. It just felt like, I said, it felt like it was trying to do a lot and did nothing. All it did was traumatize people. And me, despite knowing, like I said, I did not see this movie in theaters because after I realized what type of movie this was, I was like, absolutely not. And I watched a ton of the reviews, and none of the reviews I was liking what I was hearing and seeing. And then, so I waited until it came on HBO this past summer and watched it. And when I tell you, I could not go to sleep despite knowing how this movie was going to end. And I was literally sitting in my living room trembling. Like I could not go to sleep because that's how traumatized I was watching this movie. And it's not like I personally have some type of really negative experience with a police officer or someone close to me died at the hands of police. It is just that that is how triggering this movie was. And it's like, I can understand that you want it to be relatable and talk about how it's ridiculous that every time a black person sees blue and red lights, our fight or flight immediately initiates and we have to wonder if we're gonna make it home. I get that, but to have almost a 2-hour movie where the characters that have, like I said, not a love story, these characters barely know each other, doing all these pit stops, like just a lot of weird stuff going on, like that's musty sex scenes in Backwoods, Georgia, while a little boy sits there and charges at police. I don't understand how this was supposed to feel like a love letter to black people or giving us a warm hug, because at the very least they could have made it. Why couldn't they have made it? Like, why? At least, at the very least, I could say I would watch the movie again knowing that they're gonna make it to Cuba. But no, that's not what we got. We got them dying Cleo style. Like, and at least Cleo was in her car. Like, these two, like, it was just this whole thing. And even them, like, I remember, I would think it was a Clubhouse room when I was, like, listening to people talk about the movie. And someone was talking about how that end scene where he's like carrying her is supposed to represent a cross, and or like that it's like this one like statue with Mary and Jesus when Jesus was like being crucified or whatever. And it was just like, what? Who is gonna know that? Like, as a person who analyzes a lot of stuff, like, I would have never got that in a million years, and no. And that's my point. Like, instead of a movie that could have, like I said, I see where it could have gone that way and it could be this love letter, but because they died, I can't get jiggy with that. And because the girl kept getting injured, like, she kept getting injured more than anyone else. She's the one that got shot. She's the one that broke her leg or sprained it jumping out the thing. And she's the first worst person to die. Like, it was just like, no, I don't understand it. I don't. And so that is, that it just, and that's my problem. It's just like, I want to love these movies. I do. And like I said, I have a person who literally watched every movie that I named, and then I'm not gonna say I enjoyed all of them, but it's just annoying. It's just annoying because, like I said, no one's offering any solutions because it's hard to do that while things are still happening and while the powers that be don't want to abolish the prison system, because that's the answer, right? It's defunding the police and abolishing the police system. Is that gonna happen? Probably not. Let's be realistic here. And so until that day comes, there's no need for cop films. I'm sorry. There's no need for cop films. You are not doing anything that the predecessors that they came before you. Also, a lot of cop films have very like mixed, confused messaging. Like, they don't want to, it's like they can't say full outright that all cops are bad or that the police system as a whole is trash. So they keep saying not all cops are bad. And so they'll have those moments where like they'll be like a good cop to try to make other cops like they're probably watching this film feel better about themselves. And I mean, when you're dealing with white film studios, and like I said, a lot of the times it's either Black people just writing or directing, but it's not fully all Black staff and things like that. It's like, and at the end of the day, they're selling these films to white, movie studios, and because of that, they have to try to pander to white people in some way, shape, or form, even though most of the time white people are not watching the movie. And so it's like, if we're not going to go out on a limb and be radical about it, then there really is no point. Point blank, period. And I'm not trying to knock Black filmmakers and Black writers being inspired and wanting to tell a story, but instead of entertaining and starting the conversations you want to start, all y'all do is re-traumatize Black people. Why do I want to go to the movies to see a person being killed by police? Why? There's nothing enjoyable about that. And it's like I said with Queen and Slim, there wasn't like this movie was based off of a real life situation. These were fictional characters. So they could have made it. Like, they could have made it. And so that's just what it is. It's just like, I am all for Black people wanting to make the movies that they want to make. I don't want to be overly critical and be like, like I said, I'm all for Black people making mediocre films. Like, if you want to make a short film about a child and a dog, do that. If you want to make a movie about a mediocre love story, do that. If you want to make a movie about dinosaurs, do that. But Black people want to escape. Like, we do. Like, that's why we watch movies. That's why we want to watch TV shows, is because we want to escape from the reality that we're in. I don't want to watch, like, how many people went to go see Queen and Slim for a date night movie, and the reality of what happened in that movie could definitely happen on the way home? Like, what? Did we think this through at all?
Happened to the original plot of the movie? What happened to the original plot of the movie?
Like, and that's, like I said, the problem with most of these movies and television shows. You're not offering anything new that we already don't know. You're just re-traumatizing people who have been, having rough experiences with the police. Or, like I said, the reality of it is so real, it's just triggering because it could definitely happen to any one of us. And so that's just kind of where it is. Like, I can get why you want to make movies like that, but it's unnecessary at this point. And like I said, trauma is used right, or, used for a particular purpose, then yes, I understand they have to happen. It has to happen. But when it's done wrong, it's done wrong. And there's a very fine line between, like I said, executing that perfectly and just traumatizing the very people you want to entertain and uplift. And too many times these cop films are doing quite the opposite. And so, like I said, while I am all for Black people making the art that they want, I have to say the police films have got to stop. Like, they have got to stop. You are not offering anything new. You're just like, while we are still trying to figure out what the heck we are going to do about this so that not more people, Black people, are not dying at the hands of police, and this is no longer a reality for us. Like, I think the cop films need to just, like I said, based on a true story, go for it. But if it's not, if it's a completely fictionalized, dramatized version of things that are happening to people in real life, I'm good on those. Like, no. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about cop films. Let me know about that trailer on Netflix. What do you guys think about it? Will you be watching? Let me know, do you think that trauma is necessary in movies and films, especially Black films? Let me know all that stuff in the comments, and I will definitely see y'all in my next video. Peace out, y'all.